Have you ever wondered the moment before your last breath, is this the last ending?
What if this is the greatest transition your mind, body, and soul will ever experience?
You're in for an experience.
Across cultures, across centuries, across science itself. One question humanity can't escape from: what happens before our final breath?
Is this really the end? What if I told you there's one experience every human being will ever meet, and yet it's the only one we still argue about till this day?
Science says one thing.
Millions of people say another, but tonight we'll follow the evidence, the stories, and the mystery. Stay with us. Hi, it's Jay, and let me introduce you to Tree to the channel.
Hey everyone, and you're watching The Curious Explorer with Jay and Tree, the channel where we unravel the mysteries of curiosity, psychology, and the unseen forces shaping the human soul. Tonight we uncover on these unseen forces within everyone.
Here we go again.
Is this really the end? What happens before our final last breath?
Scientists have stumbled onto something unsettling. We know that when the body dies, the heart stops, the brain shuts down, organs shut down, but something keeps happening that scientists can't fully explain.
This should be interesting.
How is that even possible?
Jay, anything is possible.
Tree, does our consciousness stop when the brain stops and it's over, or does your consciousness slip away elsewhere?
Let's find out next. Long before modern science, ancient cultures mapped the afterlife in astonishing details. Across cultures, stories of afterlife vary, but many share the same common themes: moral accounting, reunion with ancestors, or liberation from cycles of rebirth. The Egyptians described this as the weighing of the heart. They believed your heart carried the truth of your life. If it was heavier than a feather, your soul simply could not move forward. The Tibetan Buddhists spoke of the bardo, an intermediate realm after death. It's said to be a mere world where your mind confronts its own illusions, shaping your next existence. The Gnostics believe the soul returns to the realm of light, but only if it remembers its divine origin, escaping the traps of material reality. Buddhism sees death as a transition, guided by the concepts of rebirth and the bardo. Practitioners train to die consciously, believing awareness at the moment of death can change the trajectory of their next life. Christianity teaches resurrection and judgment, emphasizing continuity of the soul. The moment after death is seen as a meeting between the soul and the divine presence it sought throughout life. Animist and indigenous cultures see death as integration with ancestors and the world. The departed aren't gone. They shift roles, become guides, protectors, and part of the living landscape. Different languages, different eras, yet the same idea appears over and over.
Tree, did you know that philosophers ask, does personal identity persist? If memories and traits are brain dependent, can a self continue without those networks? You see, Tree, some argue that if consciousness is tied to neural patterns, then death is the collapse of the very architecture that makes you recognizable.
Right, Jay, but others counter that identity might be more like a pattern of information, but something that could, in theory, be preserved, transferred, or reborn. Thought experiments like the brain transplant or mind upload pushes this question to the extreme. If your consciousness were placed into a new body or in a digital system, would that still be you, or just a perfect imitation wearing your memories?
Neuroscience explores consciousness as the brain's model of the world. Conscious experience depends on networks in the cortex, thalamus, and brainstem. When those fail, experience changes. There's a problem. Hallucinations are structured, coherent, and consistent across culture, age, gender, religion, etc., etc. Some neuroscientists argue NDEs are simply the brain falling apart, which leads to your last breath. It's a last surge of chemicals creating vivid hallucinations.
Check out the video Your Mind Is Not Yours, which tells you about predictive processing, the brain as a prediction engine.
Now, this is where neuroscience gets that it will literally question reality itself. When the brain starts losing oxygen, which is called oxygen deprivation, hypoxia, it enters panic mode, but not quiet panic. Neurons fire rapidly and chaotically. Vision begins collapsing inward because the retina starves first. The tunnel of light effect appears because peripheral vision shuts down before central vision. Scientists call this the last-ditch neural overdrive, where the brain floods itself with electric activity right before blackout. This is why some researchers claim NDEs are nothing more than the brain's final self-defense hallucination, like a dying star releasing one last burst of light before going dark. But here's the twist. Even in this state, some survivors report verifiable details, conversations, instruments, moments that they should never have been able to perceive at all.
How interesting.
The temporal lobes, which are called temporal lobe storms, does three huge things.
Create your sense of self.
Process memory.
Generate emotional and spiritual significance.
When they're deprived of oxygen or hit by abnormal electrical activity, something wild happens like they can produce.
Life review experiences.
Intense emotional clarity.
The sensation of leaving the body.
A presence in the room.
The feeling of entering another realm.
Some scientists compare it to a neurological thunderstorm, a surge so powerful it bends perception into something that feels sacred, cosmic, and absolutely real. In clinical experiments, stimulating the temporal lobe can trigger out-of-body sensations and encounters with entities, even in healthy people.
How insane is that?
As the brain approaches death, a neurotransmitter surges, releases a cocktail of chemicals and endorphins to numb fear and pain.
DMT-like mechanisms producing visions, patterns, and surreal landscapes are hypothesized, though still unproven in humans.
Glutamate, spiking neural activity to extreme levels.
Serotonin, amplifying emotion and meaning.
Scientists believe this chemical supernova can also generate, like hyperreal visions, time dilation, vivid memories, feelings of peace and unity, or encounters with deceased loved ones.
So what Jay is saying is, imagine your brain releasing years, decades, and decades of memories all at once, like a massive data dump, while also firing the chemical equivalent of a psychedelic trip, but intensified by fear, trauma, and biological urgency. This is why some researchers believe NDEs are the result of a biological final hallucination protocol.
Sounds like the last call tree. So even with all these explanations trees, scientists still can't explain certain circumstances.
Right, Jay? This is where the science stops and the mystery begins.
Beyond this line, the instruments fail and the theories collapse, and yet thousands of people report something happening after the brain shuts down. So let's step into that territory.
If you'd like to get a deeper dive in NDEs, check out the video, Are Near-Death Experiences Real or Just a Dream? To learn more details about NDEs. Subscribe for more content. Hit that like button and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Now back to the video.
In hospitals, death is defined by biology. When the heart and lungs stop, oxygen stops reaching the brain. Without oxygen, neurons fail. EEGs often show no detectable cortical activity at conventional thresholds and cells die. This is the clinical map. But here's the shocking part. The brain does not immediately die.
Even after the heart stops, the brain can show organized electrical activity for up to 20-30 seconds, including gamma waves, the same frequency seen in conscious thought and vivid perception.
As higher cortical control breaks down, deeper systems take over, while lower level systems like emotions and memory can dominate awareness. That rebalancing can make memories feel ultra real, boundaries dissolve, or create a sense of unity as inhibitory gating collapses and associative networks fire together.
In a 2018 University of Michigan study, researchers observed a sudden burst of synchronized brain activity in the seconds after cardiac arrest, patterns resembling heightened consciousness rather than shutdown.
Even when patients appear unresponsive, many still react to familiar voices. The auditory cortex is one of the last neural systems offline. Death also isn't as we imagine. Due to post-mortem muscle contractions, some corpses can twitch, shift, or even move an arm slightly for hours after death, not awareness, but pure biochemistry.
Shockingly, certain genes, including those related to healing inflammation, remain active for days, suggesting that death is a process, not an instant stop.
Tree, doesn't this complicate a deeper question? Some philosophers and neuroscientists argue consciousness may not be just a byproduct of brain firing, but a fundamental feature of reality itself, ideas like panpsychism or neutral monism. Others point to phenomena like terminal lucidity and veridical perception as unresolved challenges to strict reductionism.
Yes, it does complicate more deeper questions, since consciousness is not strictly an epiphenomenon of brain firing, but a fundamental feature of nature, panpsychism, neutral monism, or can exist transiently independent of observable brain states. Proponents point to veridical reports and terminal lucidity as hard problems for pure reductionism. This is debated in peer literature and among philosophers. The debate is real and it's ongoing.
Tree, ain't nothing real in this world, but everything keeps going like the Energizer Bunny. Even fucking neurologists still argue whether consciousness vanishes instantly or lingers. Evidence suggests a 2 to 3 minute window after cardiac arrest where neurons may remain partially functional, capable of processing sound, emotion, data, and fragments of experience. How fucking insane is that? 2 to 3 minutes after cardiac arrest.
Chill out, Jay. Seriously, did you know that in 2014, Annals of Neurology reported cases where patients later recalled conversations, events during periods with no detectable cortical activity at the scalp level?
That's challenging assumptions that a flat EEG equals total unconsciousness. The first time in science, the dying brain may not be fading to black, it may be briefly organizing itself with astonishing intensity.
As performing a final integration of a lifetime,
Recalling every memory,
every emotion,
every detail of a life,
as if the soul itself is having its final say. Jay, let's ask the viewers.
Go ahead.
Do y'all think your last breath it's all over, or there's a window before everything collapses completely? Remember, science has narrowed the mystery but not dissolved the experience.
As the final breath we take, the brain sometimes blazes with surprising order, or sometimes it goes completely dark, and sometimes, by accounts we're only beginning to measure, people return convinced that something deeply meaningful occurred.
Which brings us back to the question we started with, does consciousness end with the brain?
Or does the moment of death open a doorway we haven't yet learned how to map? What if your last breath is simply logging out? Simulation theorists suggest consciousness might be an uploaded user and death is the return to the source server. Simulation theory does not explain consciousness, it simply reframes where the mystery might reside.
Physicist Nick Bostrom's simulation argument shows that if advanced civilizations can simulate conscious beings even once,
then statistically it is more likely we are in a simulation than base reality, a conclusion taken seriously by researchers at Oxford, MIT, and NASA-funded programs.
In other words, physics allows it, probability favors it, consciousness remains unexplained.
It sounds wild and crazy, right? But leading scientists like Elon Musk and Oxford philosopher Nick Bostrom say the math supports it. In a simulated universe, death isn't destruction, it's disconnection.
A disconnection from what, when consciousness might not be produced by the brain? It might simply flow through it.
Across cultures, Egyptian, Tibetan, Christian mystic indigenous, death is not described as annihilation but as a transition of awareness often accompanied by moral clarity or life review. Neuroscience now confirms something unexpected.
The brain's final moments may involve heightened integration of memory, emotion, and identity, as if meaning itself intensifies before dissolution. Spiritual traditions didn't call this judgment. They called it remembering who you are. Physicist Dr. Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Dr. Stuart Hameroff proposed that consciousness arises from quantum processes inside microtubules, tiny structures inside our neurons.
According to their theory tree, when the body dies, the quantum information inside these microtubules remains, meaning consciousness may return to the universe like a drop of water returning to the ocean.
Whether through science, philosophy, or mysticism, every tradition tells us the same truth.
Something continues.
Something persists.
Something awakens. Death may not be the end, it might be a doorway to another realm.
Whether or not consciousness survives death, one thing is certain.
We believe about death quietly shapes how we live.
What we fear.
What we avoid.
Here's 3 shifts that can change everything starting now.
1. Reflective end-of-life journaling. Write a letter as if today were your last day. This isn't about morbid thinking, it's about clarity.
Psychologists have found that mortality reflection reduces regret-based anxiety and increases value-driven decisions.
Tree, did you know when people imagine their final day, they focus less on achievement, more on relationships, honesty, and unfinished truths?
No, I didn't know. Let me ask the viewers, if this were your final entry, who would you forgive? And who would finally know the truth about how you felt? Death strips away illusions. This practice does the same without the cost. 2. Contemplative practice on impermanence. Daily mindfulness focused on transience. Neuroscience shows that brief repeated reflection on impermanence reduces fear response in the amygdala.
Or increases emotional regulation.
Or J. Deepens present moment awareness.
This isn't about obsession, it's about training your mind to stop clinging. Nothing you love is permanent, including you. And strangely, that's what makes every moment unbearably precious. Ancient Buddhists call this remembering death. Modern psychology calls it living more fully. 3. Practical arrangements, the final act of love. This is the least discussed and most compassionate practice.
People who prepare,
reduce emotional trauma for loved ones,
prevent conflict during grief,
leave clarity instead of chaos.
Preparing for death isn't giving up on life, it's protecting the people who will still be here when you're gone. Legacy isn't what you leave behind,
it's how easy you make it for others to carry your absence.
So Jay, let me ask you this. If death is not the end, how would you live your life differently?
I don't know, Tree. I may never fully understand what waits beyond this life or in the afterlife, but maybe that's the point. The mystery is what makes life meaningful. The unknown gives us every moment its depth, and the question itself makes us human.
There's no single answer we can all agree on, but there is a map of evidences, stories, and practices that brings the life to question.
If you're curious, start with the science, listen to the stories, follow the evidence, and sit with what it does to you. Let's explore the mysteries of consciousness, existence in the universe, one question at a time.
If this opens something in you, share it below. Tell us a story you've heard or a question you can't stop asking. Subscribe if you want more deep dives like this. Whatever death is, it's not meaningless.
Because the deeper we go, the more it feels like life isn't something we have, but something that's happening through us, right up until the very last breath.